listen-only mode.
Can you please check it? Can you please check that link, whatever the link I shared in the questions box? Please, all of you get that link in the question box. Access that link and try to it. Are able to open that Hibernate 10 a.m. document? Are you able to get it? Always we can access notes from here, guys. It's not like one-time link. I think so. It's a permanent link, right? Okay. It's a permanent link. Then you can use this. Yeah. Up to now, I have not uploaded any images there. That in the next onwards, in the same document, I will paste that images. What are the images I'm going to prepare there? From today onwards, we are able to get images in this document. Okay, don't worry. Yeah, guys, no need to depending on this Google, what I'm telling the classroom regarding this. In a Google Classroom also, I'm giving this link details to you. Then try to save that in your desktop permanently in a notepad. Create one notepad on our desktop, then where we can provide this completely. Yeah, Google Classroom, I'm not going to use, guys, next onwards. Then I'm going to do everything with this document. So whatever the link I provided you, then you can access it. Now we are able to get it. Okay. Guys, in the Google Classroom also, I shared that link to you. Now try to utilize this. Google Classroom code, if you expect this, I'm giving the classroom code there. You can use this. Yeah, Google Classroom code also I'm sending there, but it's no use from today onwards. Today onwards, we can access the classroom and everything through this. Okay. That's okay, guys. Now, then total here, whatever the things I expected here that I shared with you. Okay. Now, let's move on to our topic now. Today onwards, every image and everything will come in this document only, so that you are able to get some clarity. Fine. Right. Now, observe this clearly. What we are understanding there, what are the differences between entity beans and Hibernate? What exactly the differences between entity beans and Hibernate? Then few points I have discussed there. Then EJB's entity beans are heavyweight, but Hibernate is lightweight. EJB is more API dependent and Hibernate is less API dependent. Debugging and testing is very much difficult in entity beans, but debugging and testing is very simple in Hibernate. In entity beans, it is not possible to define relations between beans, but in Hibernate, we are able to define relations between beans. In entity beans, one-to-one relation is required between entity bean and a table, but in Hibernate, we are able to define any type of relationship between tables and beans. Entity beans required application server, but Hibernate does not require application server. The other points here we understood clearly. Next one is after that. What is the difference between JPA and Hibernate, guys? There are no much differences here. Very simple point here I'm giving there. What is this JPA actually? What exactly the meaning of JPA? Understand it clearly. JPA is an abstraction or a specification, guys. Understand it now. JPA is an abstraction or specification then provided by Sun Microsystems. JPA is an abstraction or specification provided by Sun Microsystems. Okay. And it is implemented by application server vendors and some third party products. Like what are these actually? We can understand it now. JBoss. Then after that, 1 minute, guys. I think so. Guys, are you able to see my screen here? Yeah, now check it. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah. Now just nothing I typed here. Just only one point here I've given there. What is that point I've given there? What is the difference between JPA and Hibernate? That question here I've given there. JPA is an abstraction or specification provided by Sun Microsystems, and it is implemented by application server vendors and some third-party products like what there. JBoss. JBoss nowadays it's like what they know, like application server, or maybe then what next one here? WebLogic server, WebLogic, and so on. So many third-party vendors have implemented this particular topic. Guys, observe carefully. Okay, fine. This is one thing here. JBoss is an abstraction, a specification provided by Sun Microsystems, and it is implemented by application server vendors and some third-party products like what are there, JBoss, WebLogic, and so on. And not completed here. Then what is that another point I'm telling there? It is giving some guidelines. It is giving some guidelines that it is giving some guidelines to implement ORM rules and regulations, or ORM conventions, or ORM rules and regulations. It's giving some guidelines to implement ORM conventions. Right, guys, observe carefully. This is what exactly the point I'm telling there. But one simple example I'm telling there, JPA has provided number of annotations to perform database operations as part of its abstraction. Number of annotations are provided by JPA. JPA has provided number of annotations as part of its like what there, as part of its abstraction here now. Right, sir. No. Then what is this Hibernate actually? Hibernate is a third-party product. Hibernate is what they third-party product. Then what it is using there, what it is doing there now? It is implementing ORM conventions as per JPA guidelines. As per JPA guidelines. Guys, observe this point clearly. What I'm telling to you, as per like what there JPA guidelines. Next one after that, Hibernate has provided implementation for all the annotations which are declared by Hibernate has provided implementation for all the annotations which are declared by JPA in order to perform database operations. That's it, guys. Now this is what exactly the point I'm telling there clearly. So JPA has given some set of guidelines to you to implement what there, to implement ORM rules and regulations. So Hibernate is a product. Hibernate is a product which implemented all JPA rules and regulations, all ORM rules and regulations as per the JPA guidelines. As part of the JPA has given some annotations there. That annotations are implemented by Hibernate. That annotations are implemented by like what there, Hibernate as a third-party product. So this is what exactly the point here we can understand now. In other words, I'm telling there, Hibernate is a product. It has JPA and ORM implementations. That's it, guys. Now this is a simple note here I can specify there. Hibernate is a product. Okay, it has JPA and ORM implementations. Both the implementations are existed here inside this Hibernate, not more than this. Right, guys. Now this is one simple point here I'm telling you. Then after that, what next one here? Hibernate history. Some details about this Hibernate, who has provided, and all the things here we are going to be understanding here. Little bit information only here we are able to understand it clearly. Right, guys. Now first of all, who has provided this Hibernate, guys? Now tell me, any idea? Guys, any idea who has provided this Hibernate? Red Hat systems. Right, not Oracle. Red Hat systems has provided Hibernate. Not Oracle, guys. No. This is not provided by Oracle, even not provided by Sun Microsystems. This is provided by third-party organization. That is what their Red Hat systems. Okay, fine, right. Next one is after completion of this objective. What is the objective of this Hibernate here? For what purpose here we are using Hibernate? What is the objective of this Hibernate? Just we have to understand this clearly. Objective of Hibernate is like what there? What is the objective here? To simplify data persistence. Data persistence in enterprise applications. To simplify data persistence in what they know, enterprise applications. That's one point here we can understand. That is the object here now. Yeah, definitely in enterprise application to simplify data persistence. Next one is who is the author for this actually? Initially, who is the author here now? Author is like what there? Gavin King. Gavin King. Mr. Gavin King. He is the author for like what there? This particular product. Which type of product it is now? What is the type of product it is now? If you observe this, the type of product for this is like what there? ORM implementation. ORM implementation. Type of product is what there? ORM implementation. What is this? What is this like open or licensed? Open or licensed. If you observe this one, this is open source software. Open source software here we can understand it clearly. Alright, sir. Then what exactly the version is available at present here? Then before that I'm telling there, designed on which platform? Where it was designed on the top of what here? It has designed on the top of what there? No, Java. On the top of Java only it has been designed here. This is one thing. Now tell me guys, apart from this, then what next one here? Designed on is okay, fine. Then which version of Hibernate is available here at present? What versions are used there? Used versions in outside here. Maybe we can understand it now. Hibernate 3.x, 4.x, and 5.x. Maybe the latest version is what there 6. 6 is also available here, but understand it. Depends on our requirement, might be we are able to use that. But in my classes, how I'm going to prepare our applications there. Initially, 1 or 2 applications I'll prepare with the 3.x version. I'll show what exactly the conventions are available with the 3. Then after that, I will go for 4.x. What are the conventions are available? Then after that, 5.x, then 6.x. So time to time, I'm going to use like what there right from 3.x version onwards. I'm going to show programming with up to 6.x version here now. How to prepare Hibernate applications with the 6.x version. Also, we are going to see that. Okay, the conventions are almost the same, but small changes are available. The changes here we are going to understand. Yes, guys, all of you get my point or not? All right, sir. The next one is like what there. After that, what is the website here? From where we are able to get Hibernate software and everything, no? But anyway, no need to think much about this Hibernate might be the location from where we are getting there. Why? Because we are going to prepare majorly. We are going to prepare Hibernate applications with Mav and Max. Hibernate applications we are going to prepare with what they know Mav and Max here. So no need to think much about that organization that from which website here we are able to get it. No, right, sir. Now the next one is like what their website. Now if you observe this www.hibernate.org. Hibernate.org it is available here previously, but it is at present is available or not, then I have to check it. From where only we are able to get all the content, guys. All of you understand this clearly. So is it working, guys? Now tell me, Hibernate.org is working here. From where here we have to check here. Now let me check this here. Hibernate.org is working or not. Yeah, it's okay, fine. Everything is data. Now here we are able to get this one. Now here latest news is here we are able to get Hibernate 6.1.0 is also released here. That content is existed here. Okay, if you click on it, then what we are able to get there from here we are able to get the release document, release notes here we are able to get it. No, from where we are able to download it, I will show all the points. No need to worry for this. So a separate thing is available here. Then we can identify this. Is a released. It's released Hibernate to ORM 6.1.5 released here. Right, so features here we are getting there. Apart from that, from where here we are able to get the total content here that I will show. I will discuss with you clearly. from where we have to get it. Right, son. Then don't worry. Then I'll show this in the future. Right, so now this is website from where we are able to get some details here. So these are somewhat information about like what there Hibernate, what we are having there. Guys, all of you are getting it clearly what I'm telling to you. Next one is after completion of this, what exactly the Hibernate features? What are the various Hibernate features here we are having there? So by this we are able to understand what is this Hibernate, then what advantages we are able to get by using this Hibernate here. That point here we have to understand. Guys, now let us understand all these features clearly. Hibernate features here we are able to provide some details here. Now try to understand it. What features here we are able to understand here? First, let's understand the point number 1. What are these points here? We can identify this. Point number 1. Hibernate is database independent. Guys, understand this? No, Hibernate is what there? Database independent. It can be used for any type of database. It can be used for what there? Any type of database. Guys, answer my point here now. So Hibernate is database independent. We can use Oracle database. Then through Hibernate we can connect with Oracle database. Through Hibernate we can connect with the MySQL database. Through Hibernate we can connect with what they know, some other. Any type of database here we can connect through Hibernate. Hibernate is a database independent. It can be used for any type of database. That is one point, guys. Next one is, other one is like what there? Hibernate is applicable for all the types of applications, like what they know, standalone applications, web applications, and distributed applications, and so on. Any type of application here we can use what they know, Hibernate. And a distributed applications here we are able to provide like what there, Hibernate here now. Right, sir? Understand it clearly. What exactly the features I'm telling you here, now we can understand clearly. Next one is Hibernate will run its functionalities. Hibernate will run its functionalities with or without the application server. With or without the application server, we can understand clearly. Yes, it is possible to use the Hibernate with or without the application server. This is one point here. Next one is Hibernate is providing very good support for. Hibernate is providing very good support for associations and joins. Associations and joins, guys. Then what is the meaning of these associations? You know what associations are available, guys? Observe carefully. One-to-one association, one-to-many association, many-to-one association, many-to-many associations. All these are like what they're associations. Hibernate is providing very good support for associations and joins. That is another point here. Yes, clear, guys. All of you are getting my point here, no? Join the tables and how to retrieve the data and how to store the data. Associations, when two tables are having primary key and foreign key relationships, now how data is going to be distributed over the tables and how data is going to be retrieved from the tables, that we are able to understand clearly. Right, sir? Right, exactly. Then apart from this, then what next one here? Hibernate is providing annotation support. Hibernate is having annotation support to perform database operations. Database operations in order to reduce XML dependency. Guys, observe carefully. Once you are using this Hibernate there, then annotations we can use there. When we are annotations, no, then no need to use what they know, XML. XML dependency is not required here. Without using that XML here, we are able to prepare like what their Hibernate applications now. Hibernate is providing annotation support to perform database operations in order to reduce XML dependency. This is another point here we can understand now clearly. Right, sir. Next one is after completion of this, guys, are you aware about? Listen carefully, guys. Are you aware about primary key generation algorithms? Automatic generated values for primary keys. Whenever we are inserting a record now, if the primary key is available, that is auto-generated value, means that automatically values are going to be generated for primary keys, where user is not required to be provided primary key, user is not required to provide primary key values explicitly. Automatically, database engine will generate some values for the primary keys now. Are you aware about it now? Automatic generated values are primary key generation algorithms now. The primary keys are provided. Primary keys are provided automatically by the database or by some algorithms there. That algorithms are called as what? Their primary key generation algorithms. That algorithms are called as what they know? Primary key generation algorithms. So here the point what I am telling there, right sir? What's the point I am telling there? Hibernate is providing very good support for primary key generation algorithms. Primary key generation algorithms. In order to generate primary key values automatically. It has given support for such type of things now. It has given support for such kind of things also there. Now that is another point here we are able to use. Hibernate is providing very good support for primary key generation algorithms in order to generate primary key values automatically. Yes, sir. Are you following this point or not? Next one. Another one is what there. Hibernate is providing very good collections support. Very good collection support to manage the data. Of database table. To manage the data of database. Right, sir. What's the meaning of it? No, data of the database. What's the meaning of this one here? Say, for example, guys, I'm telling to you, in JDBC, you may fetch the data. That fetch data will be stored in the form of what there? In the form of result set. Am I right or not? Guys, all of you understand this point, what I'm telling to you clearly. In JDBC, for example, if I call like the result set RS is equal to st dot execute query method of, here I may write like what there, select a star from EMP1. So the data will be taken from EMP1 table. The total data will be stored in the form of like what the result set object. When the data is stored inside the result set object, from this we are able to get the data directly. And if you want to transfer the data from result set object to if you want to transfer the data from present system to another system, the result set object is not possible to transfer over the network. Is it possible to transfer the result set object over the network, guys? Now tell me. If you want to transfer any object over the network, first of all, we have to perform serialization over the object. Serialization over the object. If you want to perform serialization over the object now, then the respective class or interface must implement either directly or indirectly serializable interface. But unfortunately, here what happened? The result set is not implementing serializable interface. When result set is not implementing serializable interface there, then it is not eligible to travel in the network. But I want to transfer the data from Java application to the network here. If we want to send the result set data to the network, then what we have to do there? There we have to go for collections explicitly. Here we have to use. What collections here we are able to use there? Now try to understand it clearly. Result set RS is equal to st.execute query of select star from EMP1. That's fine. Then after that, now here what we have to do there? Simply here we have to take list. Say for example, here I'm telling the list of students. Now list is equal to new array list. New array list here we are able to provide. Then after providing this array list, then what we have to do there? While rs.next method, inside this rs.next method, here what we are able to provide here, student std is equal to new student object here we created. Of course, we are getting the data from emp1, not like emp1. I want to say like what is student, for example. Now again, what we have to do there inside this no std dot set sid of rs dot get string of sid. Next one is what there std dot set s name rs dot get string of s name. That's it. Next one is like what there std dot set SADDR. For example, I'm going to take rs dot get a string of SADDR. Like this we are able to do. Then whenever we are getting this data here inside this, then what we have to do there, then list dot add of std. Then here we are getting array list object. That array list object only we are able to submit to the respective content. This is in JDBC case, what we are understanding there. But if you go for Hibernate, then what we are able to get there, answer my point here. If you are using Hibernate here, then what we are able to get directly list of student. Okay, then list is equal to session dot then what we are able to specify there no session dot of using here session dot maybe here we are able to use some other method here. Some other method in the sense what method here we are able to use there. For example, session dot query method. For example, understand it query method. Now get select a star from student HQL query. If I provide this HQL query, then automatically here what happened there, the total data will be taken, the total data will be stored in the form of what they list directly. So now in the case of plain JDBC, this much of code here we have tried. If you want to get the total data in the form of list object, but here in the case of this Hibernate, in a HQL directly here if you are calling like what there session.query, then automatically here we are able to provide like what they know select a star from student automatically. Student is a class name here. Internally mapping with a particular table in a HQL directly the data total data here we are able to get the total data will be stored in the form of what object can no list object can. So where we are able to get the total data in the form of list object. Right, sir. Of course, then this row set was used there. Row set is for the sake is an alternative for what they know result set only. Yeah, but even if you want to get the data in the form of row set, that we can transfer there. But I want to get the data in the collections now more. Collections, if you get the data more flexibility here, we are able to get to utilize the data now. So that's why here we have to use this. Anyway, in the case of Hibernate, directly we are able to get the data in the form of what object can know list object directly. So this total data is not required to write. Now here only one simple instruction here we are able to write. So direct collection support is available in Hibernate or not? Come on, guys, you have to understand it. Direct collection support is available in Hibernate or not? Direct collection support is available in Hibernate or not? Yeah, that's why here I'm telling you Hibernate is providing very good collections support to manage the data of the databases. This is what exactly the point here we are getting about like what their Hibernate, like what I'm telling their collection support here now. All right, sir. Next one is another point here. Hibernate is having its own query language in the form of HQL in order to simplify database operations. I don't want to use SQL queries in my Hibernate applications. Even the Hibernate main intention is also be the same thing. Hibernate main intention is also be what there. Don't use SQL queries in Java. In Java, don't use SQL queries. Without using SQL queries in Java applications, we have to prepare database logic. Where as part of that, we are able to get like one query language separately for Hibernate. That query language is called as what they know Hibernate query language. A separate query language was provided here in Hibernate. That is what they know Hibernate query language, guys. Observe carefully. So Hibernate is having its own query language there to perform to simplify all the database operations. Right. So this is one thing. Next, guys, observe carefully. Hibernate is having very good cache support in order to reduce number of hits to the database in order to reduce number of hits to the database, and in order to improve database operations, in order to improve performance of the database operations. Performance of the database operations. Right, sir. Now tell me, guys, all of you now tell me, what is the purpose of this cache support? No, what is the purpose of this cache mechanisms? Guys, observe carefully. I have a requirement. What is my requirement here? In JDBC applications, in a plain JDBC, I want to get 100 times employee details from database in JDBC. What I'm telling there, in the plain JDBC, I want to get 100 times employee details from database. So then what we have to do there, history dot execute update of, I want to get it, no, execute query method. Here what we have to do there, select a star from EMP1. How many times here we have to execute this? No, 100 times. Now here we can understand, this is like what there, result set RS is equal to like this. This is result set RS1, for example. Same results here I'm going to get 100 times, second time, third time, and so on and so on and so on. 100 times. Right, sir. Guys, observe carefully. I'm asking this question there. 100 times you want to retrieve the data, employee data from the database table. Then now tell me, how many times we have to send the select SQL query from Java application to the database? No. How many times we have to send this SQL query to the database? No. Come on, guys. Everybody has to answer for it. How many times we have to interact with the database there? 100 times we have to interact with the database or not? 100 times here we have to interact with the database. But interacting with the 100 times, in the sense, the result is very same in every time. Result is very same in every time. But interacting with the database 100 times, in a sense, so a lot of resources are going to be consumed more. Memory will be consumed more. Then at the same time, like what, the execution time will be taken more. So performance of the database operation will be reduced. Performance of the database operation will be reduced. Then what we are able to do there, as an alternative there, as an alternative, we are going to use a cache mechanism. Cache mechanisms here, we are going to use an alternative. What is that alternative there? Cache mechanism. Cache mechanisms here we are able to use. Then what is going to be happening in the case of this cache mechanisms? No, observe carefully. Only first time only we are going to interact with the database. Okay, and first time, whatever the data here we are getting there, first time results we will keep in cache memory, cache storage. So whenever we require the data, next onwards, next time onwards, we will not interact with the database. Okay, we will get the same results from cache. So now here almost all 99 times interactions are reduced. 99 number of times database interactions are reduced here now. So now tell me, 99 number of times database interactions are reduced, in the sense performance will be increased or not? Increased. That means that performance will be improved or not? Okay, performance will be increased. So that is an advantage of like what their cache mechanism. So Hibernate is providing support for like what they know cache mechanism support here we are able to get. Hibernate is having very good Cache support in order to reduce number of hits to the database and in order to improve performance of the database operations. This is exactly like what their caching mechanisms here we are able to understand. Right, guys. Next one after completion of this. Third one is like what there Hibernate is providing. Hibernate is providing very good support for connection pooling mechanisms. Very good support for what are their connection pooling mechanisms. Understand, guys? What is the meaning of this connection pooling here now? Right, sir. We are going to maintain a pool of connection objects at the time of startup of our application there. Then when request is coming for the Java application to interact with the database now, one connection object from the pool will be assigned to that request. So like this, up to max threshold value that all the connections are going to be assigned for the request. Then after that, if any request is coming there to get connection there, then the connection pooling mechanism will keep that request in waiting state now. When any resource is freed, if any connection is free in the utilization part there, then that connection will be assigned for what the new request which is coming and which is in waiting state. So this is exactly the meaning of like what their connection pool of the connection objects which are going to be assigned for the request. Automatically, when the request is completed here, that connection object will be given back to the respective pool. So this is like what the thread pooling. Thread pooling is available and the same as connection pooling is also available here. But Hibernate is not allow us. Hibernate is not giving option for us to use the connections and everything explicitly. But Hibernate is providing an option for us. Internal support is for what there. Like what their connection pooling mechanisms only we have to use. Don't use like what their other content here. Just only we have to use what their connection pooling mechanisms inside this one. So because of that, this Hibernate is providing very good connection pooling mechanisms. Like that, very good connection pooling mechanisms are like what there. Right, sir. Now default connection pooling mechanism in Hibernate that we have to understand. After understanding the default connection pooling mechanism in Hibernate, now next one is like what there. After understanding this, the next one is after this default connection pooling mechanism, third-party connection pooling mechanisms are available. DBC2, Proxol, C3P0, like this third-party connection pooling mechanisms. Next one is the application server provided connection pooling mechanism here we are able to see. Application servers are also providing some connection pooling mechanisms. That application server provided connection pooling mechanism through JNDI also here we are able to use. Finally, Hibernate is supporting too many connection pooling mechanisms in order to improve our application performance. Right, all of you get my point or not? Next one after that, Hibernate is supported by almost all the servers and IDEs. Hibernate is supported by almost all the servers and IDEs. That's it. Guys, all of you get my point here, no? Next one is another point is like what there. Hibernate is providing very good support for transactions. Transaction support in JDBC is very low. Then low level transaction support is provided inside the JDBC. But Hibernate is somewhat better. In Hibernate, transaction support is very good. Easily we are able to provide the transaction support in the case of like what their Hibernate. So transaction support is very clear, very good in the case of like what their Hibernate. But one more point I'm telling you guys now, understand this clearly. Hibernate is against to the SQL queries in Java applications. So for this, what we have to do there to avoid SQL queries utilization in Java applications. Hibernate is against the SQL queries in Java applications. To avoid SQL queries utilization in Java applications, we have to use HQL is one of the thing. But still, if we want to use SQL queries in Hibernate, then we have to use native SQL. There's a topic actually. Native SQL is a topic there. That native SQL here we are able to use. Native SQL is a topic there. By using this native SQL, we are able to utilize this clearly. Right, guys. Now these are the various features of this Hibernate than what we are able to get clearly. Right, sir. Still, so many features are available here, but these are sufficient for us to understand our content effectively. Sir, got my point or not? Now, these are the various Hibernate features here, what we are getting. Hibernate is a database independent. It can be used for any type of database. So, Hibernate is applicable for all the types of applications like standard applications and standalone applications, web applications, and distributed applications, and so on. Hibernate will run its functionalities with or without the application server. Hibernate is providing good support for associations and joins. Hibernate is providing annotation support to perform database operations in order to reduce XML dependency. Hibernate is providing very good support for primary key generation algorithms in order to generate primary key values automatically. Hibernate is providing very good collection support to manage the data of the databases. Hibernate is having its own query language in the form of HQL in order to simplify database operations. Hibernate is having very good cache support in order to reduce number of hits to the database and in order to improve performance of the database operations. Hibernate is providing very good support for connection pooling mechanisms. Hibernate is supported by almost all the servers and ID is there. Hibernate is providing very good support for transactions. Hibernate is against to the SQL queries in Java applications. To avoid SQL queries utilization in Java applications, we have to use HQL. But still, if you want to use SQL queries in Hibernate, then we have to use what they know, native SQL. You can avoid these SQL queries and we can include that SQL queries. Both are possible in the case of like what their Hibernate can. Next one is after completion of this. Right, so these are overall the points here we can understand about like what their Hibernate, guys. Right, sir. Now understand the next point here. What I'm telling to you. Next topic would be like what there Hibernate architecture. Hibernate architecture. Then what exactly the representation is available for this Hibernate? No, try to understand it. I'll prepare a diagram, guys. Right, sir. Now Hibernate architecture contains what exactly the elements. Observe carefully now. This is like what there Hibernate software. Hibernate software. By using Hibernate, we can communicate with the database. So here we have to provide what their database, guys. Through this one only, the database interaction is going to be happen inside this Hibernate. Hibernate software. Now this is a database. No. Okay. Fine. After this, two XML files here we required here. What are the two XML files along with this Hibernate? No. One is Hibernate configuration file. Hibernate.cfg.xml here. Now this is like what is the mapping file. That's it. Both are having communication there. Next one is here we are able to have like what there's some client. Client in the sense client application, your Java application only, which is using Hibernate. Right, sir. Now here, along with that, here we are able to have an object actually. Persistence object. Okay. Right, yes, mainly these are the various characters which are available inside the Hibernate. These are the various characters which are available inside the Hibernate, guys. Okay, right now. Okay, then how the flow of execution is going to be happen? What are the responsibilities of each and every one here? We have to understand. Say for example, database contains what, guys? Now tell me. Database contains some table or not? SID, SName, SID here. Definitely here we are able to have some table. Okay. Now here, inside this I want to give some data. This is available inside the database only. Right. Next one after that. What is the purpose of this Hibernate configuration file? What's the main intention of this Hibernate configuration file? So configuration file includes what they know, all configuration details. What configuration details are available, guys? Now observe carefully. Inside this configuration details, I'm telling to you. Number one, inside the configuration details, number one, we can specify like what their driver class information. Next one is like what their driver URL. After this driver URL, then what next one here? Database username. Then database password. Database username and database password. Dialect. Last important one is like what their dialect. Dialect. So all these details are provided inside like what there inside the Hibernate configuration file. Right, sir. Now get then after that inside this mapping file, what we are able to have actually mapping file is providing mapping between the class and as well as like what the database. Employee is a class. Now get when we specify like what the EMP1 table. Next one is ENO is a property name. Here this ENO is a column name. E name. E name. E shall. EADDR. Right, so now EADDR. This is available clearly. So mapping details are provided inside this mapping file. Observe carefully. Then after that, here what I am telling you, this is persistence object. That object is going to be stored into the database table. But what client is able to do there? What exactly the client application is able to do now? If you observe this client application here we can understand. First one is like what there, activate Hibernate software. What's the purpose of this? Activate what next one? Hibernate software. Next one is what there, create persistence object. That is, then whatever the persistence object is shown between Hibernate software and client application. Right. So next one is like what then after that, prepare persistence operations. What database operations here we have to perform. These are the various activities of like what their client application, guys. Okay. Now again, what is this flow of execution actually? Okay. What exactly the flow of execution is available from this here? First of all, whenever we are executing this client application, first it will activate Hibernate software. Meanwhile, Hibernate.cfg.xml file is going to be loaded, is going to be parsed. That's okay, fine. Then after that, persistence object is created. When persistence object is created, then perform the database operation by giving the persistence object to do Hibernate software. Now, Hibernate software, what it will do there? It will go to the configuration file. There it will identify the name and location of the mapping file. No? Next one, all the configuration details are taken by Hibernate software. Then Hibernate software will interact with the database. And after that, it able to perform the database operations. Maybe it may be save operation, or it may be update operation, or it may be get operation, whatever it may be, save or update method. Something else here it has performed there. If the database table, but means by getting the data from what they know, by getting data from mapping file also, then table name and everything it able to understand from what their mapping file. First it has to interact with the mapping file. Then after that, interact with the mapping file. From this mapping file, the data will be taken. The data, anyway, then details know which table is available there, which primary key, everything is taken. Then after that, it will perform the database operations. After performing database operations, some results are coming there. The results will be given back to like what their client application. In the form of same bean object only here, we are able to get the results overall. So this is the flow of execution, guys. First of all, now tell me, understand it clearly. First one, step number one. What is the step number one here? Client application. Activate the Hibernate software. Then it will be loaded anyway. Then after that, the request will come to like what is the Hibernate software. Hibernate software will interact with the configuration file and it able to get mapping file details. No, then it will connect with the mapping files here. All the mappings are generated here. As per this, it able to identify which column, which class is mapped with which table. Then all the details here we are able to get. Then after that, it will interact with the database to perform database operations. Then after that, then what next one here? After performing database operations, no. Now database engine will send that back the results back to like what their Hibernate software. Now it will be like what their Hibernate software. Hibernate software is able to display the data to the users. It might be follow anything here through that only it able to provide that all the content can. So this is what exactly the meaning of like what there Hibernate. Guys, observe carefully. This is the meaning of like what there Hibernate configuration details. That means Hibernate architecture. What we are getting there. All right. Also clearly, guys. Then whatever the architecture I prepared here that I provided inside these notes, Hibernate architecture I provided now. There we have to understand one by one, each and every point here, each and every part importance here we are going to understand. Already given that information to you so that we can understand clearly. So once we completed this one, then we are going to use steps to prepare Hibernate applications topic there. How we are going to prepare Hibernate applications, then what we have to do in Hibernate, and everything here we are going to understand. That's fine, guys. That's all for today up to now. Maybe up to Hibernate architecture I explained there. The next one is steps to prepare first Hibernate application. That overall steps here we have to understand. Then after that we are going to prepare Hibernate applications now. That's why, guys. Then that's all for today. Then tomorrow I'll explain that how we are going to provide this content. Yeah. Then at 11:40 I will start spring class, guys. Spring class already started. Yeah. Are you expecting any new batch there? The new batch is not possible immediately. Okay, spring class already we started there at 11:40. I will start that spring class. Yeah, 11:40. 11:40 I'll start it. Right.